Start recording. Hey there, so today I am going to try something different. The catalyst for this is I was trying to go over some basics in the car while I was waiting for my son to get out of his therapy class, and I, for the life of me, could not remember how these shadows worked. It's been a long time since I've done this kind of stuff. And I do a lot of shadow work in my comic, but most of the time I just kind of wing it. I don't do it correct. I just sort of, it looks close enough. Or I do what I'm doing here is I have models in 3D and I get all the lighting work done. The computer does the lighting work for me, so I just don't really think too hard about it. But I was curious and I tried to do something that I haven't done in a while, and I don't know if you'd call it pleasantly, but I was nice and shocked that I couldn't remember how to do things the way I was supposed to. So I'm like, screw it. I'll go back to basics, do a little bit of that here, and I'm not going to be doing the work per se, but I am going to be kind of going over and sort of teaching myself how this stuff works, because it's been a long time since I actually, figured it out again, or just look through this kind of stuff. So first things first, I want to make sure that I have a good tool to work with. I guess this friending grease pencil will work. And we're going to set up some perspective grids, because this is going to be exciting. Isn't that fun? I guess I'm not here to entertain as much as inform, or just bring you along the journey. But let's start. Oh good, we have the grid back there, so we don't have to do too much guesswork as far as that goes. So follow that line. And we'll follow this line. That looks about right. Doesn't have to be perfect. That looks about like the horizon line. Bear with me. I usually throw my pen in my mouth when I have to jump to the mouse real quick. So let's see here. Let's horizontal. Let's lock it horizontal. The eye level might change. In case you're new to this is Clip Studio, and the perspective rulers are our man's best friend when it comes to this, to drawing comics. Let's see, this one, we'll say about right there. It's not going to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be, because I just want to be able to do the perspective work without thinking too hard. So let's draw out the shape. There's the corner there. Let's go ahead and put that back to color so I can see it better. There's the corner there. Cool. Let's move this up, move that up. It's already not going to be perfect because this is 2 points perspective, and the 3D is obviously in 3-point perspective because that's how 3D works. But that's okay, because again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to get a basic understanding of how shadows work. And if you're a new artist, I implore you, do not skip out on this kind of stuff, especially if you are going to try to be someone who draws buildings and what would you say, like buildings and various forms of architecture, just stuff in general. Like this is the kind of thing that you're gonna need to know how to do. This one might be a bit of a challenge. Go ahead and Sorry, I got quiet because I was trying to figure this out. We'll go ahead and do this in its own way. We'll just use this as a guide, like we're doing everything, right? All right, first things first, let's make a cube. Because that's how you draw a cylinder in perspective, is you start with a cube. This will be a nice test for me as well, because I don't go back to basics very much. I think there's a lot of guys who don't, like guys, especially people who've been doing this stuff for a long time. I think the kind of one of the risks that us older guys kind of fall into is we kind of feel like we've already learned all this stuff and we don't need to go back. This is the stuff that young people have to do. And then, you know, you're in your 30s and you're like, wait a minute, why is this young person drawing better than me? And the reason for that is you gave up on the basics, dude. You ignored the basics and they just got done doing the basics, so you're so rusty and they're fresh. Let's turn off start from center, corner to corner, bam, there we go. Let's go corner to corner. Doesn't look right. Let's try again. I don't know if you can hear that. That is my cat. He is wanting attention, and I am working, so I don't want to give him attention right now. I know, I hear you. Hi. Let's see. Try this again. Corner to corner. There we go. Corner to corner. There we go. I don't know, it wasn't looking right, but I guess that is maybe it's not a, well, to be fair, what could be happening is instead of a cylinder, I might be drawing a bit of it's perspective, so it's probably not, what would you say? It's probably not, it's not a cube. It's more of a rectangle. One of the sides are too long. I think that's what I ran into just then. Oh yeah, definitely. But it'll work for our purposes, or for my purposes. Sorry. My voice is kind of raspy sometimes. And it doesn't sound very much like a bell. So if you're hanging out, God bless you. All right. So we got some perspective work doing. For now, we're gonna skip that sphere. I think that's gonna be just a little too much. What do you call it? Just a little too much work at the moment. I don't really feel like doing it. Maybe in another video. But I'm sure this video is gonna be long enough as it is. All right. That is good enough for now for what we're trying to do. Because like I said, man, it's been ages since I did this kind of stuff. So let's do this. Let's turn this back to blue, which if you're working in Clip Studio is as easy as hitting Control B, and I highly recommend it because it makes life so much easier when you are inking or when you want to do like a rough sketch layer, so then you can go in and do your hard work or your tight work after that. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's go ahead and make this a color, and that way we can see what we're doing here. Actually, you know what? We'll keep the solid stuff black, but we'll do the other stuff in a different color because we're gonna have to do a lot of perspective work. So go ahead and name this. What are we gonna name this? We'll name this 3D figures. 3D figures. And then we'll make another layer, and we'll call this light and perspective. Perp. Yeah, that's not what it's supposed to say. That's okay. Light and perspective. And we'll make this layer a nice dark red, because that's one of my drawing colors. All right, so first things first, this is our light. Blink, blink, blink. Okay, it was a nice, what you call it, like a omni light, or a, well, let's open it up and see. I think it's point, actually. Blender. Point, yes, it's a point light. In Blender, it's a point light. Which, by the way, Blender, great 3D program. You can do easy stuff like this for free, because Blender is a free program. You can do all kinds of cool, nifty things. Very good way to do some light work fast and easy. You don't have to do too much. I mean, there's a bit of a learning curve, I'm not gonna lie, but it's not that bad. I am I'm an animator, or I was an animator by trade, so when I learned Blender in a little bit more of a, well, I wanted to do some 3D motion graphic work, but I wasn't able to land any gigs like that, so I just went ahead and, I was like, well, I need to learn this program as much as I could, so I've taken really big courses on Blender, long courses. I don't know how you'd say it, but yeah, I went on Skillshare and I took like a 40-hour course or something to learn Blender, and it's funny because since I don't use it that much because I draw comics these days, I'm rusty on a lot of the stuff. I always have to go back and reteach myself the what do you call it, the hotkeys. Okay, so here's how we're gonna do this. So the way this works is this is a perspective point. And we can make this perspective, or we could make it, no, we're gonna make it perspective so I can do the verticals and the horizontals easy enough. All right, I'm gonna put it right there. So now we have that. I guess the real trick, or like how do you gauge where the floor is? You know what I mean? Because I think we're gonna need to know that in order to get this correct. So the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna go to this perspective. We're gonna use this line, this perspective, this layer. We're gonna use this perspective to figure it out. Let's go to a nice blue. And here's how we're gonna do this. We are going to stretch this out as if it is, because this is our how would you say it? This is on the floor. And so if we take this plane right here and we made it bigger, then we can see where our floor is, in theory. So let's take a straight and we'll go down to here. That right there, that's where our floor is. That's where the ground is on this thing. This point right here. So I'm gonna keep that little dot right there. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna Control Z all that work I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna keep that guide work. That right there, that's where our floor is. So go ahead and turn off my rulers real quick. There we go. That's where our floor is. And we're gonna need to know that as well, because there's gonna need to be another perspective point coming off of here eventually, because we're gonna we're doing this the hard way because I want to be able, because I want to understand it as if I didn't have access to a computer program. Because that's the thing about knowing how to draw is, you know, you might be able to, you know, if you have access to 3D art tools, that's all really cool and everything. So you can like trace over a 3D model, and hey, I think we're all guilty of that from time to time. Whenever we really need, when a pose is like really kicking our butts and we can't seem to get it right. But all that's really going to do is going to ensure that you can't do it when you really need to do it. You need to know how. And that's what this is all about. This is all about me knowing how to do the things, so I then don't have to rely on that stuff if I don't have to. It's just good to know. I want to know how to do this stuff the right way. So, back to where we were. Alright, so we're going to take a line, and we're going to go up to here. We're going to take this all the way down. And we're going to find our corner, which our corner, according to the 3D, is going to tell us it's going to be about right there. We're also going to take this line, and we're going to take it all the way down. Like that. And we're going to do the same with this corner. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we're also going to turn off this 3D stuff, because that's kind of like cheating, right? So I'm going to go back to this. There's a corner like that. So we're also going to do this corner here. All right. Now we already kind of have an idea where it's going to be, because we've seen our answer, which is our 3D work. But that was, you know, intentional. All right, so diagonal. I'm going to do yeah, we'll go off of there too. All right. Okay. Now here's our next bit of work, I guess you could say. We're going to do it in green this time. We're going to take this, since this is our floor point, this is where if you take a vertical down to where just directly above the light, if the light is floating above the ground, this is the floor. This is where it is on the ground. It's directly right there. So we're going to take a line, and we're going to go through this corner here. And we're going to take another line. We're going to go through, we don't need to make a perspective grid. We'll just pull a line off of it, and we'll go through here. We'll take another line. We'll go through this corner here. And I think that might be the only one we need. But we'll do one here too, just in case. All right. So now we're going to go back to our first perspective. We're going to do something like this. And we're going to take, so this comes here. Yeah, this is coming off of this corner. So we'll draw off of that corner there. And this is coming off of this corner. So let's see. So if this is coming down to this corner here, then that means this line should hit this to this corner and go like that. See, this is kind of like what kind of stuff I was running into whenever I was doing it in my sketchbook in the car. I was like, this isn't really falling into place the way I would like it to. Alright, so if this corner goes to right here, then this corner is going to go to right here, right? And if this is this, then this should be that. Okay. And if this corner here should be see, this is the thing, right? This isn't exactly I don't know, this isn't exactly compelling, but I'm not trying to teach you as much as I'm trying to learn on the fly. Learn while you watch me learn, I guess. Let's try this again here. Alright, let's go from this corner to, well, this is the line, so let's take this. So that right there, that should be my top plane. That right there is my top plane. So if there was no walls, this would be my top plane. The shadow of my top plane. Am I correct here? This line to this line. 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 So if there's no... Alright. So in that case... Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and say that that is correct. That's my top plane. If that's my top plane, then this is definitely where the bottom goes. So, boom. Now here is the part that is a little confusing, I guess. Let's see. How do you cut this? How do you make this cut out of here? I mean, that was the whole point of what I was doing. All right. So, this corner. Struggling here, guys. Sorry. This isn't exactly the most compelling thing you've ever seen, I'm sure, but I'm struggling. All right, let's open up the answers and see what happens. What am I missing? Okay. Why does that work like that? So if this is the top plane, and what I'm missing is this. Let's see. Red to red. If that's the case, then this corner goes to here, and this corner goes to here. Then this, yes, this is my green. That makes sense now, because that's the whole point of what we're doing here. We're seeing why and how this stuff makes sense. Okay, so if this is this corner, then this is this corner. So let me find my bottom plane then. Make this a little bit darker green so I can see it better. Make this darker green so I can see it better. Sorry, I know I'm not loud right now. Darker green, there we go. Let's see if this is this plane. Then this. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and make this red. Take that down to there, give or take. Looks like that's going to be my corner with a 2-point perspective. Make it green. The line. Where is this line like that? This is not as cut and dry as I thought it would be. This line to this line. This line to this line. Okay. So that is that plane there. That is that plane. That's the bottom plane. Then that would be that. If that's that, then this is that. Bottom plane. If that's the bottom plane, then that just goes all the way through. And if this is where my bottom corner is, then this is where this is. And let's turn this off. Looks like we've made our connections. Turn that off. 3, try turning. Want this to be like a nice faded kind of green. Or actually, you know what we're gonna do? We'll do this instead. Click, 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 click. And looks like we got it. And in that case, we're going to go like this. And I know, I'm not sure how correct this is, but we're going to kind of fade that up a bit. And this is going to be like that. I'm going to go a little darker on that bit there. Darker like that. And I think we've sort of figured it out. I'm sure that wasn't the funnest thing you've ever watched. Go ahead and redraw this. But maybe you learned something, because I think I did. I mean, that's what we're doing here, right? We're learning how shadows work. So if you, you know, maybe someone else would be giving you a tutorial. This is not a tutorial. This is me learning as you're learning. And it's kind of weird, right? Because it's super complicated as far as how it works. But this is it. This is what it is. It's like that. You know, the work it takes to do this. This is how I used to do it on paper, except they didn't even have the ability to, you know, drag a line. They would have to take a ruler, put it on the thing from point to point, and then draw over the ruler. Which, you know, like, talk about archaic kind of technology that has lost the time. And it's not even lost the time. There's plenty of guys who work, plenty of people who work, what do you call it, traditionally. So anyway, I'm not going to do this one right now because I think I'm at about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, and you know, who wants to watch me do this for an hour? So, all right, there you go. Thanks. Bye.